Hello.
Hello, mate.
So how'd you call this?
I'll do it. Please see me.
I had to stop eating my pizza because I was going live.
Right. I can see you. Can you see me, all right?
Yeah, fine. I hear you loud and clear.
Ah. Hey.
Good, good. So what's going on?
Not much really.
You
Just,
still working?
Yeah.
Yeah, you something to do with the NHS?
Yeah. Yeah, I finished. Yeah, we haven't stopped. So yeah, we'll just carry
Lucky
on.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing
in some,
it.
yeah.
What's that?
I was going to say in some ways, yeah, because obviously we're kind of out there in the public eye sort of thing. So, you know, being around people. So in some ways it's a good thing because, yeah, you're still working and still getting paid and still doing your bit. And then there's on the other side of the coin, you kind of, yeah, you're out there and, yeah, exposed potentially. So, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, man. My sister, she's just gone back now to the NHS. She was breastfeed support, and now she's just like helping out on the wards and stuff, doing whatever it is she's doing. So, yeah, we were kind of like, you know, stay safe, like, you know, don't put yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of the COVID nonsense. Let's get talking to you about the dark side.
That's the Marine, isn't it?
Did you celebrate Star Wars Day?
No. No, it's kind of don't know. That's more of a when I was younger sort of thing. I think that was all the talking and stuff.
Visions of you maintaining the tanks with like a Darth Vader mask on.
Well, you see some good people have had some like some of the toys and stuff in there, aren't they? Like there's one quite good one of was it the X-wing or whatever that's in amongst
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that one.
Some of them have been right.
Yeah, I've seen the Walker as well in one.
Yeah.
I think what's his name? Amateur Aquatics now. Pete, he's doing like a temple type of style thing that he's kind of got the idea from the Cinescaper.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that video yet, but I seen him share a post. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I'll check that out when I get 5. But
I do like the Cinescaper. He's got some good stuff going on, and his videos are excellent, aren't they? Obviously, I think that's his job, isn't it? I think he's
yeah. I think he's a cinematographer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like with mine, it's just like chuck them up quick, edit them as best I can, put some stupid like flashing up things like stop playing with your beard and things like that on my videos, and just bang it out there. It's like cheap and cheerful ghetto style. It's like I don't rehearse anything, I don't script anything. It's like what you see is what you get. You know, you just hear me rambling, and if I cock up, I cock up. I don't care. It's the way I am, you know.
do you do it all on your phone?
Yeah, I do it all on my phone. It's easier. Do you know what? I downloaded I can't remember now, some editing software which was supposed to be easy on the laptop, and I thought, right, I'm going to try and do this properly. I sit down and like do a really nice one without any watermarks and all the rest of it. My God, it just baffled me, and I thought, nah, back to my phone. It's easier. Within an hour, it was edited and it was uploaded. It was done. It was like, oh, this is so much easier. I'll just do it this way. So yeah, back to the whole reason why we got you on here in the first place.
Going off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's it, innit? We're rambling, as George says.
Yeah.
So basically, to everyone who's just joined, James here, if you don't know already, is the main man behind Blackwater UK. And if you don't know what Blackwater UK is, there's a cool search engine called Google. Get on that and look at some awesome botanics and seed pods and tannins and basically brown water, which I happen to love. Lots of people think you've got dirty water, but obviously you and I know different, and anyone else who's had tannins before knows different. This one behind me, I'm toying with the idea of going tannin. I'm not sure yet.
That's your That's your competition one, isn't it?
Supposed to be, but I've had a nightmare with it, to be honest. At the minute, I'm fighting cyno. I've had staghorn algae. All my moss and my Monty just decided to die on me. I don't even know why. So the other night, last Thursday, you could see the wood just there behind my head sticking out. Well, I ripped all the moss off that. It all come out. I just binned it because I just had a tit full of it. And I thought, well, I'm going to see what I got. And if I'm not happy with the way it looks, then I'll just send a photo of it, how it was looking before. So the moss was all green and lush and everything was lush and green. I'll just send a photo of that in and just see how I do. I'm not looking to, I don't think I'm going to place anywhere high because it's not a diorama scape. Basically, you know, I haven't spent 200 hours gluing little bits of stones together. And, you know, I can appreciate, I've said before on many live streams with different people, it's like I can appreciate it and I can understand the time and the artistry that goes into it. And like, I love the way it looks, but like, could I sit there and to me, it doesn't look natural. It's not nature to me. Yeah. But,
I mean, it's similar to sort of thing with what we do or what I do. You know, trying to make everything a bit more natural, a bit more like what you see in the wild. But then there's times when people like have taken inspiration from the wild. You know, a bit above water. You know, it's still got its pull. You know what I mean? It's kind of.
Oh yeah, I love all that stuff. The things that I think we've had this conversation before in the groups, when like the balance is too much the other way. So like when you've got like half a tree sticking out of a 60-centimeter tank, it just looks a bit wrong. Yeah, me personally, I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, sort of. Thing is, I know it's with you know, as long as everyone's happy and stuff. Obviously, you know, you got it's what it is, but. I think it's hard, especially when it comes to competitions. I think I don't know. Sometimes it seems like competitions have gone too far. Sometimes to me. I mean, I was involved with the Biotope aquarium design contest a couple of years back. Yeah, and since in the last like 2 years, it's kind of changed a bit. They've added lots, just more and more criteria, more and more, you know, things to mark against. Instead of it like looking like what it should look, especially with biotopes, it's kind of almost easier, you know, because because all these biotopes, when they're, you know, the top ones, they're not just Amazon Blackwater, and then that's it. That's too big, you know, and they kind of you know, they're all really are sort of fine tuned. If you want to, you know, place in one of those, really fine tuned, and some of them are even like have got like coordinates of whereabouts this area is, and it's kind of so you know for a fact that what you're trying to recreate is exactly what it is. You know, it's almost like literally a carbon copy, which is a bit of a shame, but then at the same time, that's a skill, obviously, to replicate in that.
To replicate in nature, you're like a specific area, specific pH, specific fish type, even down to the crustaceans. I like do you watch any of you must watch McColgy stuff.
Yeah.
Like the wild aquarium stuff he does when he just goes to the river and throws stuff into a tank, and it's like.
Well, you see, a couple of years ago when I entered into it, 2017, I think. I forget his name now. He did a wild aquarium. I can't remember his name, but he does quite a lot of stuff with. He shares quite a lot of his stuff, and he's from Georgia. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he did basically a wild aquarium, or you know what's called that, and basically from a stretch of river that was close to him, and what he created was pretty much a perfect biotope because it was, you know, it was pretty much like he just put like his tank in the water and then took a picture of it because
Yeah.
what it was, and but it didn't rank hardly anything at all. It was, if I remember rightly, it was really low down, and it's kind of like, wow. And because it didn't look, I mean, this is the year that I entered was the winner was you can tell it was aquascaping technique, shall we say, involved in it, and then it's kind of like, well, that's not what nature is it really? but anyway, yeah, we'll digress a little bit. But yeah, I know what you're saying about the competitions. It's sort of
I mean, I just thought I feel it's lost the essence of basically what Amano was all about when he created it. It's kind of lost the essence of it a bit. You don't really see in inverted commas nature style aquarium anymore, which is what it was all based on in the first place. I know Adam Pascal has got something going at the minute, which is rock, wood, his Frodo Stone, and he's using some kind of alluded to some things. He's posted a couple of small pictures, snippets of what his contest tank is. But he said to me in the live stream, basically is the most technical scape that he's done so far, and obviously he's entering it into IAPLC, so it'd be interested to see what he comes up with and what he ranks.
Yeah.
But then in saying that, Josh Sim last year? His was very nature aquarium based as opposed to diorama because he used two really big logs facing.
Yeah.
So I suppose hopefully it's taking a turn back to where I think personally it should be at. It should, or either that or just have what's the word, categories. Diorama category, nature aquarium category. That way, then it's fair. It's fair, isn't it?
It might be a way, but I mean, especially the big competitions, there hardly any of the actual aquariums are actually ranked, are they? They're kind of just placed in basically batches of a couple of hundred, and then it's only a certain amount of them that's actually fine tooth comb type of actually looked at, and it's a bit of a shame. But then there's a couple of thousand entries normally, isn't there? So yeah. Anyway, another tangent.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're like. Opinion. Right. Well, I noticed Blackwater Germany just joined, so shout out to those guys. Oh, Fish Talk's on as well. One of our group members.
A few more.
Yeah, a couple more. I suppose you better start talking Blackwater then, really.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting into it? I mean, I got into it by accident, keeping shrimp, and then using almond leaves and alder cones, and then kind of thinking, why am I spending all this money on that when I can just go and pick it up myself? And then that's when I started doing it. But obviously, I'm guessing for you, it was probably a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'd always have a community-based sort of tanks, like planted or semi-planted. Basically at the start it was just tanks with a few plants, and I never used to call them actually planted. What I class as planted, something more like yours behind. And just was like that. Was milling around doing that for a couple of years, and then I got friends with a bloke on one of the old Facebook groups. We just happened to be talking one evening about what to do, what he does, and I think I had some red cherry shrimp in there as well. And he said about, well, what do you feed them? And I said, well, they just graze on whatever fish food that was left over. And he said, oh, you can always use leaves. And I said, what do you mean leaves? And he basically said, go and have a look at this, this, that, and the other. And he said, well, you can. He said, like you said, you can buy some, or you can collect it yourself. And he started telling me what you can use and what you can't use, and what you shouldn't use, and that. And he said, oh, what have you got in your back garden? And that's when I said, oh, I've got some acer trees. Oh, you've probably seen recently. Yeah. He said, oh, just and it happened to be November sort of time, so they'd all fall. The leaves had all fallen. And he said, oh, just go and get and for them, he says, bung them in. He was it's Paul Child, his name is. You might have seen him around. He's normally on the practical fish keeping group more so.
Yeah. ADA South Africa just joined in as well.
Oh yeah, cool. Oh, is that down the bottom? Oh yeah, I can see it come down the bottom now. This is the first time I've done one of these, so it's kind of a.
Oh, there we go. Making your debut.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you just said just literally just bung a handful in amongst all these all these green plants. So I just literally chucked in a handful of dead dead leaves, and the reaction of not just shrimp but all of the fish. I had loads of neons and that in there, and they just started rooting around and pecking around, and it was really good to see. And that was only like a minor sort of amount. So the next tank I did was my big. I did a 240 that it was literally just sand and wood, and then I just put in just tons and tons of leaf litter from my own garden. And again, the behaviours of the fish was something I've never seen before. Pretty much the same fish from a planted aquarium to a quite a sparse sort of like Blackwater is a big difference. And so yeah, just kind of looked in, then started looking into what else you can use, and I suppose then it was quite a lot of people. The only things that was available was stuff that people were using for shrimp food, in the sense of like your catappa leaves and your guava and banana leaves and mulberry, and it's kind of what they do. What they're used for is two different things from what I do now, if you know what I mean. So whereas, the shrimp do, pretty much anything, either shrimp or the snails or whatever fish do react and interact with, whether it's a leaf or a pod or whatever type of botanical that's going around, they do react with, but kind of like this, like the base, what I call like the basic botanicals are the stuff that it's been around for a long time, say them like, the shrimp keepers use them for, like say, for them to graze on. And obviously when you want to create a leaf litter bed, you generally don't normally use catappa leaves because they do break down quite quickly. Yeah. Even obviously, and mulberry leaves, it's not the same thing. And obviously, there is other things out there now, but going back this is probably about 6-7 years ago, it was kind of just experiment, and then some of it was going on some of these Facebook groups. This is before I started my own one, and just having a look around and see what was what people were using, like oak leaves and alder cones, and that all created, a certain look, and obviously alder cones obviously created Blackwater because the little tint bombs they are.
They were, didn't they?
Yeah. So it kind of started like that, and then one evening I was on Twitter. Don't hardly ever use Twitter. I did have I
closed my account down. I never bother using it.
Yeah, I don't use it now. But yeah, I was happened to be on, and I just saw a couple of posts by Scott from Tannin Aquatics, and just happened to look on there, and that was the first I heard of them. And then we just happened to start talking over Twitter, and then found each other on Facebook, started talking on Facebook, seeing obviously what he was doing.
Yeah, because that's how you and I bumped into each other, really, wasn't it? And then you ended up becoming an admin of like the UK aquascaping group, because I just got dumped into that, like just got dropped in it, and I was like a rabbit in the headlights, it was just like being on my own. And at that time, I think it was probably about 4,000 members, and now we're up to like
nearly 10 now, I think.
10,000 members now. It was crazy. And and then you jumped on board, so that was cool.
Yeah, it's kind of mad how look almost like little chance meetings over Instagram or Facebook or like say from mine and Scott, it was Twitter, and
I don't think I've ever spoken to Scott.
Hey, he's good. Yeah, his podcasts are good. I mean, he does his blogs pretty much every day. Not so much at the minute because he's in the middle of moving. But previously, he literally done a blog every day, and then it's been the last, I think it's about 8 or 9 months. He's been doing like podcasts with it as well. So writing the blog to go onto the website, and obviously shares it onto Facebook and that, and then since then he's been doing podcasts and that. So he's been I was on there, I can't remember how long, I think it was August, July, August, and a few other people have been on it. George, can't think else has been on there, Corey Hopkins and that. So yeah, it's been good. And yeah, I'd say kind of once we had met, we hit off straight away. We talk. I mean, obviously he's LA time, so it's kind of quite a few hours behind us, and countless times I'm talking to him on Facebook or whatever, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, like on a work night. It's like, but yeah, it was just really easy, just really get on, and quite easy to talk to, and and then so he sent me some stuff. So the first time he had ever sent outside of the US, and that got through without no problems. The only thing I got was a phone call from Heathrow saying basically, could you confirm a few things, because obviously it was just loads of dried leaves and things coming into the country. I had to confirm a few things, and then that was it. And that's the only time I've ever had any of that sort of thing from them. And then that come over, and then just obviously the buzz of that from like sharing it around on social media, and then because it's something that's not,
No, I found it difficult. Other than your standard like chola wood and mulberry leaves and catappa and aldecodes and stuff like that, it's hard push to find like any of the seed pods and the palm leaves and things like that. I couldn't find it, even when I was looking for like apisto, like hideout for apistos, because I wanted something to look more natural instead of like a piece of slate or a piece of terracotta in my tank. I couldn't find it. In the end, I didn't bother, and they just made their own little cave somewhere. I can't even remember where it was now, under a piece of bogwood, I think. And they bred in my old 125 I had in the dining room out there. But yeah, I think I love the tannin stuff. Like my wife's not too keen on it. She thinks it looks like dirty water, but I try to convince her that it's good for the fish.
But see, more people are doing it, just using the botanicals and prepare them in a way that they don't get any tint from them at all. By
boiling them up.
Yeah, and just keep on doing those like water changes or using Purigen or whatever. It's kind of to strip it all away, and so you kind of get that. You kind of get the aesthetics of the botanical and without the dirty water, is what they say. So,
but that kind of defeats the object, don't it?
Yeah. But so I had quite a lot of people interested in what I'd got, because obviously some of it has never, unless you've heard of tannin aquatics, you've never seen them before.
I'd never seen the pods before, especially some of the monkey pods and the savu pods and things like that. I'd never seen those before. And like the banana leaves and stuff. Well, I know that shrimp keepers had used banana leaves in the past, but they usually get like the knotted type.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't know what they use them for. But then like I saw like your stuff and the stuff on tannin, of course. And I was like, where the hell is this stuff coming from? Because I Googled it. I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah. So yeah, it's quite a nice niche little thing, really. For you.
And it's kind of blown up, really. It's it's never going to be something that's going to be rivaling like a mainstream sort of thing, but I started putting orders in with Scott and being like a middle person, and literally basically being the person that he would send me like 10 people's orders, and I would pay for them, they would pay me, and then just kind of posted them out to those people.
Yeah.
But it was a pain in the backside. People wanted to pay cash. People wanted to, and it was kind of a bit like, and especially as well where I was paying stuff in dollars, and obviously, how that works out in money, and sharing out the shipping and sharing out the import taxes, and it was a bit of a. So I think I did maybe 3 or 4 like bulk orders, and then it kind of got a bit too much. And then I know Scott was approached by. I know that Scott was approached by like 2 or 3 different companies in the UK, stores in the UK, and he wasn't keen on it going into a store because he felt that it would pretty much go on a shelf and that's what it would go. No sort of passion behind it. Maybe, but
the markup on it, isn't it?
Yeah. So he was quite keen on it, on someone being basically just distributor for it in the UK, and because we had already started it to a degree with regards to because I didn't even think about it. I would literally just be being a sort of the middleman of 10 people every couple of months, So
you'd already struck up a relationship with him, so
and obviously where I was a user, as in that sort of sense, it kind of he kind of knew he wasn't going to get that, if the stuff come over to me, it wasn't going to be forgotten. It wasn't going to be just boxed up and then sent off. And it kind of started off there, and it's not been perfectly smooth, because it's not always a case of, because it's not my job. I've got a full-time job, so it's kind of it's not always been perfectly smooth. I think it's been going like 3 years now, just the other day. But it's definitely helped the UK in like an overall sort of
awareness
of I mean, there was a entry in the what competition was it? It was going back to the competitions. It was basically like a planted Blackwater. He was using the stuff from me, and I think it ranked like 800 and something or other, which was kind of like the first time and pretty much anybody had ever seen a one ended into a competition that wasn't a biosoap competition,
Yeah.
So it's kind of opened up everyone's people's eyes, and people were giving it a go, like like Sir George Farmer. He's done it before anyway, but doing it again and setting up a couple of those, and for likes of you, like potentially doing something behind you, and
I've done one
with it.
I've done one before, and I think I sent you pictures of the 6 foot one I did in that shop, but they just didn't look after it.
Yeah.
Where I used like massive pieces of logwood, and then I used like the bamboo leaves from my own garden.
Yeah.
And that looked amazing. It really did look wicked. And but they just didn't look after it. And my plan was to use red belly piranhas, and then perhaps put some really, really tiny tetras in there, with the hope that they would be too tiny for the piranha to really bother with. But what we actually got was, they put a load of black widows in there, black widow tetras, and the red belly piranha were like the size of about a 50 pence piece. So of course the piranhas had a field day.
Oh.
And then they weren't maintaining it. And then the overflows blocked up, and then it went all over the floor because they weren't like maintaining it. They weren't keeping an eye on it. They weren't doing water changes on it or nothing. And I was using to tint it, because the bamboo leaves weren't given much of a tint and I wanted it to be heavier tinted. I used the Rowaphos tea bags, and I stuck them in a sump. So you had that
some people,
nice dark.
People still use that now, especially when, I mean, some people's systems, sometimes it's baffling really. I've had tanks that haven't had to add any botanicals for ages and ages, and it just pretty much stays tinted, pretty much the same sort of level. It drops a little bit, but obviously, that's obviously with a lot of heavy like wood as well. But yeah, some people obviously when they do big water changes, it dilutes it to a degree, and then if they don't want to keep on adding botanicals, because sometimes obviously it's too much for some systems, especially if they want a certain look maybe. So yeah, they've been using those tanks, and I mean it does the trick, and as long as they keep some sort of botanicals in there, it kind of keeps the reason for doing it. I mean, like I said, but going back before, and how the fish react to it all is amazing to see. I mean, I remember, so when so not long after I started getting some bits over, Nathan Hill from Practical Fish Keeping struck up a bit of a relationship with Scott, and Scott sent him some stuff over, and he did a piece in Practical Fish Keeping about some neon tetras, and he said in all the years of keeping neon tetras, they always behave the same, and then he had this really leaf litter, and always have a little botanicals and pods and things in there. And he said just the behaviour from them, he's never ever seen them before, and they're obviously like farm bred fish, they're not even wild, so it almost like unlocks a natural instinct behaviour by having something like this in aquariums. And it's kind of like, I suppose if people were fish keepers and not aquascapers, you kind of why would you not want to see some behaviours you've never seen before? I mean, sometimes I mean, obviously sometimes when some fish show like breeding behaviour, it's kind of like fascinating. What people say, it's fascinating to watch, them doing whatever, and it's the same sort of thing as well. Like like in deep leaf litter beds and certain pods that they can hide in.
And it's funny because you get a lot of aquascapers. I'm talking about professional aquascapers now, like the likes of Felipe and Adam and George and all those guys. They'll sort of, what's the word? Like George is more sort of, he'll try things and test things out, whereas like Felipe is a 100% aquascaper. But like the majority of us, myself, you, George, I know I spoke to Yuri's, and he's the same. He was a fish keeper first before he got into aquascaping, and then obviously he sort of planted tank and he kind of went that way with his hobby. But I defy anybody to look, like if they lived with a Blackwater system for any length of time, and as soon as they see a breeding behaviors of a fish, or like the male showing off to the females, or males displaying to other males in the tank, and to not be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And like the first time you get a pisto fry and things like that. Like I remember I used to have a big old discus tank, and I had like about 250 black neon tetras in that tank. It wasn't tinted or anything. It was just like heavily planted with Hygrophila, Diformis, and there was a load of Amazon swords and a few other like easy-ish plants that could tolerate 30-degree water. And to see the black neons going in and out of the plants, egg scattering, and then to see the fry, and I'm like, where the hell did they come from? And it wasn't until I thinking I didn't buy those, and they're not discus fry. So, you know, and then obviously when you sort of sit and watch for any length of time and you can see them going in and out and breeding and egg scattering, I was like, oh my God, I've just bred black neon tetras. I've never bred them in my life before. And I did nothing special. I was just doing my usual 30 to 50% water changes with, you know, there were a couple of degrees lower in temperature than the water that was going in. And that was basically it. You know, I wasn't feeding anything special. You know, I was feeding like a dry food most of the week, and then once a week they would have in like maybe bloodworm or something frozen. And yeah, I defy anybody, even your hardcore aquascapers, as soon as they see breeding behaviors or fry, they are like, oh, look at them, or you know.
Like with George, when he had his epistogrammas the other last year that bred in his Blackwater system, I think he was gonna be stripping it down after like 3 or 4 months, but because they had fry, he kept it going for a lot longer than he was planning to, because he just didn't feel right to you know, just basically destroy their home mate and then not with their history. So so yeah, it is smart, and yeah, it's nice to see. I mean, say people use them for, like you were trying to say earlier about the pistos, trying to provide them an area for them to spawn in. Yeah, like when it's like natural like that, it's just feels better than that. It feels like
right.
you're trying your hardest to try and give them the, you know, obviously, yeah, you know, unless you keep them wild, you know, those fish, they never have seen whereabouts they've come from, and I just think it's quite nice to try and do something a bit more natural, and you know, especially the colours as well. You see some really nice, some fish take on a different sort of, almost like a different colour scheme in a tinted aquarium.
I noticed it with my cardinals. When I had cardinals and the water was a little bit tinted, and I had a little bit of shade from my lilies, like the reds and the blues seemed to go a lot deeper and a lot fuller. I don't know why, but I was thinking, oh, is that maybe me, or you know, is it the lighting or what, you know? But yeah, you put them in there, like in comparison, like this tank, I've turned the light down. It's just on moonlight at the minute, which is like one single LED light, white light that goes onto the tank.
Yeah.
But when I got it on, I only ever have it on 3, but it goes right the way up to 6, and it's just like, you know, it's like in trying to wave a bleeding plane into land. It's so bright, like. So I only ever keep it on 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what that would look like, you know, tinted with a lot of root wood, because my all-time favorite fish are discus, and I'd love to keep a natural Blackwater discus system. That's my dream, you know, to have like a, I don't know, maybe a 6-8 foot, you know, lots of roots, loads of leaflet, and have maybe a big shoal of wilds. Or
you've got a space for it?
I have, but there's a bookcase there and kids' toys at the minute, so maybe when they're a bit older and they haven't got all so much like paint and crap.
Buy them a Kindle.
But in saying that one there, that's 240 litres. I could probably, I know I can. I could squeeze a 4 foot in there. I could squeeze a 120 in there.
Yeah.
So if I put a 4x2x2 or a 4x60x50 or something like that, that'll give me, you know, maybe 360, 380 litres, possibly somewhere around that. I could put 6-8 adult discus in there, no problem.
Yeah.
So watch this.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously their colours as well. I've seen some. They kind of not necessarily wash out, but they kind of don't. You don't really see their colours pop as much when they're like a normal anytime they're in a normal planted aquarium or whatever. They look nice, but when I've seen them in a Blackwater, only slightly tinted, they stand out much more.
Same as Altum Angels as well. They never look better. They never look better than they do in a natural setup, a natural system. You know, with like even a slight tint, even if there's a slight tint to the water and the lighting is like, I don't know what your feelings are, but I like the sort of point of source LEDs. So whether it's AI Prime or a Kessel or something like that, so you get like a shimmering effect.
Yeah.
No, for something like a Blackwater, that would just looks awesome.
I mean, when I did my 240 that I entered into a competition, I had an IKEA spotlight on it because it had no plants whatsoever. It was literally just for illuminate, slightly illuminating the aquarium. And the only thing that I found, because it was obviously just a normal LED, that it would some of the fish's colours would, when it was directly under the light, it would, they would lose. I think it was the red on my cardinals. I think the red would go. It was really bizarre. They would literally go underneath it, change colour, and then go out the other side of it, and then they would look normal.
Probably too much blue, too much on the blue spectrum, maybe. Or too much on the white spectrum, possibly. No, because there's no red in there, is there? So
no, but it would be nice to. Because the thing is, well, I know obviously Kessels and stuff is obviously obviously they're expensive, but it would be nice if there was some sort of more point of light. Lights that were kind of like more. Just for ideal for that sort of thing, for like the dappled light.
Just something like a 65K color source that you could like turn up and turn down, just like something simple like that. Is not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You can bang it on a swan neck or something like that. But man, without going into too much detail, I know Lifeaqua. Lifeaqua, the guys who make that light behind me. Well, anyway, they are releasing a new range very shortly. I can't because I'm an ambassador for them. I can't like tell you exactly what it is because I'm not allowed to. Because I've signed contracts and stuff. So like, they could sue me if I tell you. But they'll have a very reasonable lighting solution shortly. I can speak to you about that another time. Because we are on the World Wide Web and live, and the walls have ears. But yeah, they're coming up with an affordable solution soon, I believe. Good.
It would be nice because I've tried looking into little bits and bobs that I could do, for Blackwater UK that wasn't just botanical. I'm still in and out of trying to think of things that I could do that could add to the the overall genre and feel of what you do, and keep toying with ideas. And wood's one of the things I've been thinking about, but
try get
you can get stuff everywhere. Can't you get stuff at Pets at Home or whatever? And it's is there any need for that?
It's getting stuff that you can't buy, like say at Pets at Home or in the range or something like that. Which I can put you in touch with someone, but it ain't cheap. Well,
it's a story. I mean, I've touched base with a couple of people before, just trying to. What I like is having things that other, like exclusive, kind of like exclusive stuff. It's kind of stuff that that you can't get anywhere else, or So just try and think of some things that other people haven't got. Try and keep not say keep ahead of the game, but trying to just push it, just keep pushing it.
Well, if you want to do wood, I got a number of a guy, and he does the cork bark, he does Cape Vine roots, he does bogwood, and he does mapani as well.
River aquatics coming out down the bottom. So yes, I mean that's the thing. You can get. I mean, there's plenty of people. So yeah, I've kind of toyed with that idea, because obviously most people that do Blackwater aquariums are obviously pretty much only using wood. Yeah, just trying to little think what I could do just to add a bit more. And I think obviously got a bit of an advantage being in connection with Scott over at Tannin Aquatics, and he's got some new things coming pretty much all the time, really. So it's kind of nice. Yeah. He's got something coming soon called Shade. It's no, we're not allowed to call them tea bags, but they're similar.
It's a tea bag.
Infusion. So,
it's the new vegan range.
So yeah, it's kind of it's basically it's got like I think it's like almost like three flavors, almost like strengths. Then because sometimes you want, I mean, some different woods give out different sort of strengths. I mean, sometimes we use like the more of the bogwood or like the mangrove root. It's kind of big and chunky. You kind of get like a deeper red. And I always found when you use like the Mapani, it's more of a yellowy.
Yeah, it's the yellowy tint you find a lot with spiderwood as well, or azalea root, or whatever else million different names it's got.
Yeah. So I mean, I say that I haven't. I've seen little bits about what he's doing. So I think it's kind of going back to what we were saying earlier about trying to replace, when you're trying to keep that tint at a certain level continuously. It's what they're going to be using. So and he's got some substrates as well that he's playing around with.
Yeah, funny enough, I was going to mention. I think I mentioned this to you before. Using because I know like a lot of the stuff that like you would use and like shrimp keepers would use and like people who are into tinting and stuff would use are also very similar to what the guys who keep, say, like paludariums with chameleons in and things like that. So things like the what's it called, like the coconut fiber and stuff like that. And I was talking to Roman from Prodibio about the aquabasis, the stuff in the plastic tubs. Yeah. Because that's kind of like a soil and like small stone, and it's got little sticks and stuff in it. And I'm just thinking, if that didn't turn the water muddy, that would look wicked as a substrate.
Yeah.
Maybe over.
Have you got to cap that or not?
I'm not sure.
I've never used. I've only ever used the shrimp soil.
Because I know it will probably leach something, but then ADA Amazonia does.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to test it. Maybe even if I'm gonna try it. I got a bucket of it in the garage. Just get a pint glass, chuck some in a pint glass, and then just put some water in there and just see what happens. If it goes manky and dirty, then I can just tip the water out and bung it in the bin. And it's just like, whatever. But like I got test strips, so I could always just fill up a pint glass and just stick a test strip in it and just say, oh, well, that's the ammonia, that's the whatever, if at all there's anything. If that's the case.
The thing. It's kind of like, I think even when you're using sand, you kind of, I mean, I've done it a couple of times before where I had basically a sand substrate and then probably about a third of the tank. I had it like in a sense bare bottom, but I put a few different mixtures of like the different like you say, the coconut sort of fiber, sort of chunky bits, and then fine, almost like grated. I don't know what you would call it, like grated, almost like a powder. And there was another product.
What about like the bark chips and stuff that they use for like snakes and stuff? Because surely that's got to be.
I think I'm not sure
safe.
I'm not too sure if they're. I know you can get some of them are like orchid bark. Looks like the largest supplier in the UK. Yeah.
Maybe, but you were the first.
No, well, it depends what you're saying. I mean, Julie Lightfoot had quite a few bits going for Tantora originally, going back, because obviously we were saying earlier, it was, you know, there's a kind of a crossover between shrimp, you know, what shrimp keepers were getting, and
Yeah.
you know, that sort of crossover to like botanicals that wasn't used for shrimp, you know, and so yeah, I mean, the Tantora products that she did and still does was the first. But yeah, no,
wasn't the range fairly limited though? Things just like chola wood,
yeah, it still is. I mean,
catappa leaves and mulberry leaves and stuff like that. And then, you know, I didn't see pods and things like that until fairly recently. I mean, maybe that's because I was out of the game a bit, I suppose. And like when I was keeping shrimp, I was keeping them with mainly almond leaves, alder cones, oak leaves, beech leaves. Silver birch leaves are quite cute because they're so small. Especially in a small setup. If you've got like a little nano or something, and you still want leaves, but you don't want like a big oak leaf or an almond leaf, you can use dry silver birch leaves, which are really cute because they're so small.
But I think it's like I say about there's, you know, there's some, you can get stuff on eBay, you can get stuff on Etsy, you can get your own, you know, like you said, obviously you can go out and collect your own, but you know, and you can get it from, you know, like what, I can't remember what was it Dory said, you can get it from other places, even like our group sponsor Riverwood Aquatics, they do some bits and bobs. Whether you get the same level of passion behind it, yeah, that's debatable. It's up to you how you want to.
The other thing is though, it's like a please all type of thing, isn't it? With a lot of shops, not all, because I mean, I know Pete is like Pete from Riverwood. He's a passionate aquascaper, and he's really good as well. And like the paludarium stuff he does, and the above water stuff, and the immersed growth with the mosses and stuff is wicked. And he's always like playing with waterfalls and things like that. But like,
I do when store owners know what they're doing.
Yeah, like Dave at Aquarium Gardens and stuff.
You know, and the guys that Nature, you know, Ray, he does stuff himself. And I mean, I've said it before, kind of, you know, I mean, I don't drive, but if I worked for a car garage and I said, John, I was trying to sell you a BMW, whatever, and you asked me, well, what is it like at handling round at whatever at 60? I'll be like that. I don't know. Would you buy it off of me?
So no, of course not.
Yeah. So I kind of like those stores that have got enough about them to
put their money where their mouth is, isn't it? Back up their bull, basically.
Yeah, and I think the thing with me, and I think that's what Scott liked so much previously, is because, like I sort of said, and probably used the wrong word, is calling myself a user.
That was funny.
Someone that
I'm an addict, man.
Someone I know I'm talking about, you know, and you know, I get messages on Facebook and Instagram pretty much on a daily basis from people, not even in this country, asking questions about, you know, can I use this? Can I use that? What can I do with? What do you recommend? And I don't look at them going, oh no, I'm not going to make a sale. I'm not going to talk to you because you're from, I don't know, Italy. You know, I just kind of, it's all about spreading that, you know, that love for the tin, you know, yeah, and for the hobby, it's kind of helped. So
it's just another aspect of fish keeping, really, isn't it? It's just, I mean, Mikolji's a cool guy, but then when you look at someone like Heiko Blair, he's like the opposite scale, isn't he? Like, unless it's grain of sand perfect from the Amazon, and you know exactly where it was from, what the pH of the water was.
And he probably found 5 fish there.
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds. We got about 30 seconds remaining of this live stream, so I suppose we better wrap it up pretty quick.
Okay.
Unless you want to go into round 2 afterwards, but
Oh wait, no, maybe we'll do it another time. I say it's the first time for me, so it'd be good to do it again another time.
All right then, mate. Well, I'll say ta-ra for now and catch up with you later.